Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and returning from a long week in Arizona full of tequila and apparently sun, looking rosy and ready to go. How are you, Mr. Molitor?
Not only did I pack sunscreen, well, I went and found it because I'm not wearing a ton unless I go out, did some skiing or something up here. But I went and found my sunscreen, put it in the bag, and then realized I shouldn't bring it on the plane. Put it in the right bag that I checked, put it in the rental car, drove it out to the golf course, and then didn't put any on. Just like ten steps of motion waste and then not even use it. But so yeah, Thursday I got a little bit of the sunshine on my. I woke up, my calves were a little sore because I wore shorts out there. Some of that was from walking too, but we did end up having a little bit of fun out at the Waste Management Open, and I even got a hat, so pretty happy with my new rope hat. I would have liked to win more money. None of my outrights really got going. Tony Finau was probably it, and he just couldn't putt. Congrats to Mr. Scheffler on doing it again, and congrats to the 900 million thousand people that were out there. It was just a zoo. It was fun. I'd encourage you if you like going to places, I would go to that place. That would be a place I would pick. Also, just Scottsdale. Shout out to Scottsdale. Phoenix can suck it. Glendale can suck it. Scottsdale is the
That's where
ticket.
it's at.
Scottsdale is a vibe, man. It's just way more chill, and we really enjoyed Old Town Scottsdale. There was a lot, and fuck, half of Philly was there. I mean, as far as people wearing gear, and maybe just Chiefs fans don't wear as much gear. I don't know, but it was like 8-1 Eagles fans for a long part of what when we were out and walking about. So very fun tournament, and then a very fun Super Bowl, which I guess I wish I would have had a little more conviction for this over once I finally got my head around it and realized like this isn't a spot where this should have been ticking down right off the bat because I was of the mind that 51 was a touch high, and this was in the the waning moments of the games that we had 2 weeks ago, the conference championship games. I said I think that comes down a little, and then it's good. It's good to change your mind in betting. Like if you stick with what you think right away, you're probably going to lose some money. You need to take in everything you can and make your your bets, your process. And I really came around in the over. Ended up betting it, but not for my lungs or anything. Which again is probably the right choice too. It's just another football game. They don't. They don't pay any extra just because it's a Super Bowl. I mean, you can wager extra if you want. Had some fun with the props. Got burnt a little on some early anthem intel that wasn't quite correct. Had some overs there that bit me in the ass. Made it back on Rihanna. Rihanna? I don't ever say her name right. And then, the Chiefs winning was nice. I did have some futures on that from the same week, that conference championship weekend. Just ended up betting an Eagles to lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl exacta before the conference games were played. So that was it was kind of honestly, it was just kind of a parlay in my mind for conference championship weekend, combined with I thought the Chiefs were should have been the Super Bowl favorites. Obviously, it did close a pick at bookmaker. There was a Drew sent me a screenshot, which is I think after 2 weeks of talking about it and listening to everybody else talk about it, I think was fair.
And you watched the game. I mean, that game was kind of a coin flip, depending on how you feel about the holding call, which was holding. It was still a three
Yeah,
point game. There were a lot of chances. I mean, again, if the Eagles don't quite fumble that ball, again, is that the play that basically decides the game kind of earlier on? It was a really fun football game. A little bit of a bummer for a lot of the props and stuff we had with Miles Sanders getting hurt early. But besides that, I mean, I couldn't complain about a single thing. I thought the game was great. The halftime show was awesome. Rihanna was really great. That was a really cool thing, all the levels and stuff. I really enjoyed that. I mean, trying to just go through and see. I mean, Hurts was fantastic. I hope every Eagles fan that spent all last offseason saying they should trade Hurts for Russell Wilson really feels bad this morning, because you should.
yeah.
You were
No,
wrong.
and that was the thing. I even said that in a chat after he scored like his third rushing touchdown. I'm like, maybe we should consider giving this guy the MVP even if they lose. Like it was an absolute standout performance that's going to get lost in the ages because they didn't take home the trophy at the end of the game. They scored 30 some points on one of the best teams, coughed up an absolute goofy defensive fumble that was really, really kind of out of character. Um, but otherwise, yeah, it was a great game. Yeah, the penalty late. It's such a silly thing how people treat that. And I know you can't say, well, it's funny how we wouldn't treat it the same if it was in the second quarter. Well, it doesn't change the win probability by that much if it's in the second quarter. It is different. It is not the same, but at the same time, it's really tough for these refs. You can't tell them like, hey, don't call stuff at the end of the game. We want you to just go away. Like if that's the case, take the refs off the field for the last 2 minutes.
Well, and
Go
if you
sit in the
don't call
tunnel.
it, you just have a different fan base that's angry, right? Instead of Eagles fans
Yeah,
being upset, Chiefs fans are upset. So there is really nothing to gain from, like you
yeah.
said, telling the refs, don't call stuff at the end of games. It was a clear hold. Again, Bradbury himself admitted that he did it. So, like,
Yeah, and that's the stuff that gets. It depends on the angle. I think a lot of it gets missed just because they can't see it from one spot, compared to if it's in a different spot and they can see it. It's difficult to get all those right all the time. Football players just getting better, faster. Defensive players, a lot of them are very savvy on how to get away with a lot of that stuff. Same with offensive players and some of the push offs. So no, I'm fine with it. Very good Super Bowl. I even tweeted about this. It reminded me of, hey guys, do you remember the Rams Patriots Super Bowl? We could have had that. Remember how that was? 3 hours of just slog. I think there was one touchdown. That game was horrid. Like I'll take this every year, and I'm fine with them. I actually am fine with them taking the refs off the field for 4 quarters. Just let them rip. NFL Blitz, NFL
wow, that
Blitz
would be
Super Bowl
so
next year.
interesting.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how they would play with no officials? That might be a bad
Dirty.
idea.
I believe they would
Somebody
play
might get
dirty.
hurt.
I believe they would play dirty. So no more football. Unless you were going to bet the XFL, the USFL, the arena.
You'll talk yourself into an XFL bet.
Yeah, I will always talk myself into an XFL bet, but
Was
it
it
is
Guardians you
draft.
had to win the championship?
No, I had PJ Walker's team, the Houston Roughnecks. Was it Roughnecks?
Oh yeah, the Roughnecks. That's a thing.
Yeah, it was like an oil thing, which reminiscence of the old Oilers. But I'll probably dig into those if I get some time. But I am starting to dig into draft season. This is where I switch gears a little. I will start having some draft bets as they come. There's just not a lot on the board yet. We're starting to have some chips that are falling. A big part of draft season is seeing where the coaches end up and then also tracking free agency. And it's funny, maybe the most important thing that happened for the NFL draft and where these quarterbacks be taken is the fact that Derek Carr is just going to force the Las Vegas Raiders to release him and make him a free agent since he becomes an NFL quarterback who's a free agent and has played at a high enough level that he'll be sought after. It turns this quarterback needy group of teams that all could have been wanting to trade up, trade with the Bears, trade with Arizona, some of those ideas that people had. It turns at least a few of their heads towards, hey, maybe we can pay Derek Carr and have an established quarterback instead of taking a punt on Richardson, Levis, whatever you want to do there. So interesting wrinkle that kind of got lost in the shuffle of everything there. We'll have to see how draft stuff goes. I'll have draft bets, and then obviously Luke and I are back. VR. Me and him doing a 5th-year option this Thursday again. We'll go over the last 2 weeks of all the news. The Steichen hiring in Indy makes a difference. Hopefully we get some news out of Arizona on who their coach will be. We'll talk about some of these upcoming pro days. Upcoming combine is later this month, and a lot going on. So we'll get more into that. I have nothing for you now. There's just nothing up. I just am excited about it, and this is where I'll be turning
It's still very early.
a lot of my attention. I think I usually do a mock draft the night before the draft. And it's not, I guess you can say it's cheating, but I'm just not in tune enough to be doing them this far out. But VR and we will do a 5th-year option mock draft in a few weeks. We'll have one out, maybe beginning of March. Once we have a little more information, we'll have our own official mock draft. That'll be fun to
update.
I don't know, go back and look at. Yeah, for sure. So, but as for stuff we can bet on today, this week, right now, the whole of the world's attention goes to basketball and hockey, a little bit of baseball. We have the World Baseball Classic and pitchers and catchers report soon, but they can have April. Give them April. So for now, we turn our attention to the round ball of basketball. Give me the ball. I should switch to my Timberwolves hat.
You should switch to your Timberwolves hat. Big slate of games tonight, 11. 3 bets I do have here. Quickly on some of the other games. Hawks Hornets came out basically right on my numbers. The Cleveland Cavaliers are laying 15 points at home. I don't really know what to do with that because I'm not taking 15 points with the Spurs, that's for sure. Jazz Pacers, that should be a really fun game. If Indiana's healthy, and that's kind of the problem. It looks like Miles Turner is questionable and Halliburton is questionable. If you get Halliburton in, that's probably worth a little play on the Pacers, but we'll have to wait and see. The Nuggets, waiting to see if Jamal Murray is going to play. And that line looks like it just flipped to Nuggets -1.5. So might jump on that here as we finish up the show. If it looks like Murray's going to play the Nuggets, that should be a really nice spot for them. The Thunder, short favorites at home. Again, hard not to bet the Thunder at home. They've been really, really great. But again, came up pretty close to my number. Our Magic, 4.5-point underdogs in Chicago. Again, came out pretty much right on my number there as well. Lakers, Blazers, Wizards, Warriors. Again, I might play the Lakers here if it looks like LeBron's going to play in Portland, but we'll see how that goes. And then Wizards, Warriors, just really tough to handicap the Warriors, honestly, at this point with what's going on with all the injuries and whatnot. But 3 bets I did make. We'll start with the Rockets. First half, +8. That's right, +8. They are 13.5, almost 14-point underdogs in the full game spread in Philadelphia tonight. My 76ers have been very solid at home, but have been a little bit more slow starting in general. And the Rockets, on the road aren't as good as they are generally in the first half on the road as they are at home. I'm sorry. But I look at this spot. I had this closer to 6.5 points. The 8 looks really nice to me here. Joel Embiid is questionable. Curious to see. They generally don't rest him when they're at home, but always a chance that he gets pulled. I think the Rockets here have a chance to get on the Sixers. And, despite Jabari Smith maybe not getting as much sleep as he wanted, I think they'll figure something out here. So Rockets, first half +8. Not going to do the halftime full time here. It's really hard for me to see the Rockets actually winning the first half, but we'll take the 8 points. I like a big number. The Brooklyn Nets +3. They play New York tonight. I'm looking at 2.5. Probably draw the line right at 3. Wait for a 3 if you can. It might bounce back at some point. This Brooklyn Nets team, again, very hard to kind of handicap. Not really any data on this group of guys playing together, but based on how the last few games have looked, really kind of all fits together well here. There's something about just kind of having 8, 9 guys that are all really good, that are all flexible and can kind of be put into variable situations. It kind of feels like what the Jazz look like, honestly, earlier in the year with maybe a little less scoring power. And they go up against the Knicks team that has been really bad against the spread the last month or so. It's an interesting team. There's like this 5-week period where the Knicks were great, and then the rest of the season they've been pretty mediocre. I had this game basically at a pick 'em, maybe Knicks -1 at home, a little bit of a home court advantage still, even though Brooklyn and New York are very close together, obviously. But like the Nets here, wait till it bounces back to 3. Think they'll be able to keep that game close, maybe even win it. And then your Minnesota Timberwolves visit the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks should have Luka Doncic tonight, should have Kyrie Irving tonight. I'm cool. Give me the Timberwolves. Minnesota's been playing very good basketball lately. Rudy Gobert is listed as questionable, but he's questionable every game and plays at this point. But with just one big man, the offense has kind of found a lot more spacing. Anthony Edwards should have a great night tonight if you're like a DFS guy or something like that. I don't see anybody on the Mavericks that's going to slow him down in any way, shape, or form. So way too many points. I had this closer to 4.5, 5, honestly. So 7, 7.5, whatever you got in front of you looks pretty good. So handful of underdogs tonight. Speaking of underdogs,
can live with that. I like some underdogs. And now you make me want to bet like an Anthony. All right. So, and you can't look at these props right now. Maybe, and they're probably up already. I mean, it's 10:45 in the morning. The game's tonight. But like, how do you feel? Do you ever bet these NBA props? Like when you say Anthony Edwards is going to have a big night? Like, and I know it's based off position and who else is, and a lot of it maybe not only position, but the kind of lineup they'll be going with and what he's expected to do. But is there a case for one of those that's not just Anthony Edwards points feel like you get some leeway when you do the points plus rebounds or points plus assists. Maybe, and points plus assists is such
Let
a
me see
tough
what his
one because
rebounds look like.
points plus assists is, um, it's almost like a negative correlation within a single prop market. I know they have to price that in, but every time he gets an assist is the time he ain't making a bucket. You can't get any points if you're dishing the ball. So I know that's kind of tricky with some of the front court players who do get a decent amount of assists, but I like points plus rebounds. What are we thinking?
Yeah,
38 and a half.
What I'm looking here is, yeah, you definitely want to do points plus rebounds. He has had some big rebound games, and Dallas doesn't really have too many big men left at this point.
What is points plus rebounds? Is it under 40?
Let me see.
That's what I'm willing to bet right now. That's me doing prop bets in my brain.
Points plus rebounds, 33.5.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a little low.
Adding a prop. Last second ad. NBA prop. First one.
You could hit that about points alone.
Yeah. I think he has 40 points, guys. Just off you convincing me just now. So I'll play that. I'll play Anthony Edwards points plus rebounds. So
love a momentum bet.
I'm on that. Over in the Colonial Athletic Association, how far is this campus from you?
About 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less.
So this game will be played in Hempstead, New York.
Okay, so and much further.
A hot team. The Hofstra Pride are playing quite well right now. A lot of that has to do with some of the teams they play aren't very good, but they have wins over Charleston. They have wins over Towson. They beat Wilmington a while back. Like this win streak has some decent wins within their conference as well. I just thought 10 was a bit too much here. Drexel, the Dragons of Philadelphia, as I mentioned, are one of the teams who I think is a fairly decent team in this conference. They just came off a pretty nice win in overtime on Saturday. And I know it's a little bit of a quick turnaround, some of these, where it's, the Saturday game plus an extra 5 minutes a game coming off a home game Saturday, flipping it around to a Monday away game. But Philly to Hempstead's not some super travel spot. This actually should be a really entertaining game if you like Colonial Athletic basketball. But Drexel is one of the better defenses in the conference. I know Hofstra is probably the best offense, but they don't get to the line nearly as much for a big favorite like this. And what was the thing I had for Drexel there? Drexel's shooting overall. Their 2-point percentage, their effective field goal percentage, their offensive rebounding is good enough. Like I made this like 7. So getting a 10 here felt pretty good. I know it's down to 9.5. I'd bet this down to like 9. I think that's a reasonable stopping point for me. I think there probably is a 10 out in the market if you still hunt enough, but for the most part, a lot of places did end up shifting this to 9.5 this morning. Don't pay extra juice either, too. That's such a thing. If you're betting like hundreds of these college basketball games, don't ever go like, I'm going to buy it to the 10. And also, too, like I looked at 3 books just now. One of all 3 had 9.5. One was minus 15. One was minus 11. One was minus 10. Doesn't seem like a lot, but boy, does that add up over like 500 bets, guys. Like, really, really try to keep the juice low in college basketball. There are no points that are worth, like 5 cents. The difference between a half point in college basketball is very, very minimal. No key numbers, guys. So take it easy. Bet the 9.5 if that's the best you can have. Let's go. Drexel Dragons. Let's beat the Pride. It sounds weird. Like it's not like a mascot, like beat the Lions or whatever.
Yeah, you're
beating a feeling, and it's a good feeling. Like it makes me feel like I'm a bad person. Beat the Pride.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, just never going to say that again. We're clipping this out of the show. It's gone. WTA Doha, which is somewhere in the Middle East.
You know where it is? The World Cup was pretty close.
I was going to say, I think it's in the United Arab Emirates.
Starts with a Q.
Qatar.
I'm still not sure.
Yeah, we're still not sure on that.
That's what they get for the bribery.
Looks like you have a couple takes on one of these matches. Jesus Christ, what's going on there?
Yeah, not too many lines open again. Just kind of tough timing here. I'm looking at basically five. A six match actually popped up while we were talking here. I've got a line for Kvitova Zhang, but two plays here. Kind of two matches. One play in the first match here. Really like this spot for Ostapenko. An underdog here to Madison Keys, and I think a little too much of recent form for Keys here driving this line. I have Ostapenko as a short favorite in this match. She has been playing solid tennis, and this is a great court for her. Keys has struggled here the few times that she's played, and for whatever reason, Ostapenko won this event. I think it was 2 years ago, might have even been last year, and generally makes a deep, deep run here. So has been in Qatar, I believe, for a couple days, warming up and getting into form here. Again, Keys hasn't played since the Australian Open, so could have come out here a little clunky, and I have Penko favorites. So give me her at plus money. And then the other match here, or a lot going on here, Beatriz Haddad Maia is going to play Paula Badosa. Paula Badosa coming off some sort of illness, a flu or something, but basically hasn't played tennis since before the Australian Open. Comes back here in her first match. I love this first set over here. Two women that play really long first sets, should be able to serve here and kind of hold their way through. I was looking at first set here, over 9.5, minus 105. Again, had this closer to minus 130 myself. So really, even anything minus 110 or better sounds great. We'll probably try to stack this up too once it opens up a few other places, a 10.5 and a 12.5, if you will. And I really like this spot for Haddad Maia. She's minus 120 here. I had this closer to minus 140, almost minus 145 as I start to tweak some stuff here. And again, if Badosa is anything less than 100%, that's even a better edge here. So going to take Haddad Maia. And I guess if I like Haddad Maia to win the match, Andy, and I like the first set to go over 9.5, why not sprinkle some first set exact scores here? Again, smaller bets, but again, if I like the first set over and I like Haddad Maia, I do. I have to see some value in these. And as I start to look at them, 6-4 plus 500, 7-5. Plus 1,400 and 7-6, plus 1,000 here. Again, just got a little sprinkles across the three. But really what that means is Haddad Maia wins the first set again by that kind of exact score, 6-4, 7-5, or 7-6. And if she does, we're in really good shape. Cash one of these props. We've got our first set over 9.5, and that minus 120 with a one set lead is looking pretty good. So again, smaller bets on those, more a little bit kind of for fun. But I see a little bit of an edge there. So I'm going to play those on top of those first other two plays.
I'm going to parlay Badosa, Haddad Maia, first set over 12.5 with
Penko.
Like Anthony Edwards to score 40. That's all I see on my timeline is like people doing just taking big plus money numbers and making stupid SGPs out of it. So
yeah, maybe we can turn $5 into 200,000. Let's do
why
it.
Not? Why not me? Why not now? Maybe. Which I'm only saying that because I did end up with a little bit in the black yesterday, which was good after the just getting repeatedly kicked in the nuts by Mr. Stapleton. Like I needed him to break a guitar string at that point because I'd kind of made my bed.
Didn't feel that fast.
No. I'd made my bed with some over bets, and once the under info came in, the number shifted, and I wasn't going to be the kind of person who put myself in a Polish middle where if it landed on like 2 minutes 4 seconds, I lose both ways. Like nobody needs that in their life. So left it alone. Just sometimes you got to take your medicine. That's the best advice you can give in this spot. So the tour shifts back to California, the golf tour, the PGA Golf Tour, the Professional Golfers Association. And another big event, another lot of big names, including one that's not even on here that probably doesn't actually have a real chance of winning it, but we'll talk about it all week. And Scotty Scheffler, fresh off his win. Rahm was right there. Rory, little rough start to the tournament. He ended up bouncing back, made the cut at least. Tony was right there. Max has a win this year. Colin should have had a win this year. Sungjae's played well. Xander was right there. JT had a nice weekend. So many good golfers. Another really, really tough tournament to probably pick a winner from. It's going to be similar to last week where probably not going to be betting a lot of long shots. And as the clip Dan was so kind enough to clip said, I'm most likely betting Colin Morikawa. We're just early in the week.
It's who you are as a person.
Yeah, I know there is a good chance to pick off early numbers at some of the legals on Sunday night, Monday morning. I don't do a ton of that because I'm not in a legal state, first off, but for the most part, I do like to wait for the bookmaker odds to come up just to see what's going on at that market. I like to see what Pinnacle's hanging And I think I'm going to get a 25 on Colin Morikawa. I'm manifesting it. I'm going to manifest it right now. We're getting a 25. I'm just going to wait for
I'm
some
sure it's
book game.
25. It can be, but no one could bet there anyway.
Yeah, that is the problem with some of that. So otherwise, yeah, that's probably my only bet that's really, really for sure going to make the card for now. I'm gonna have to do some soul searching on some of these other guys. Look at Genesis, and if nothing else, you get to watch Tiger Woods play golf this weekend. At least Thursday, Friday. I can't guarantee the weekend yet. He does have to play.
I was impressed that you went there, but you caught yourself.
He does have to play a certain level of and Falcone, the original, the Bring Back the Goat intro song.
Goddamn,
I don't even know what that means.
That song we replaced the intro song because the
yeah, YouTube was like, I don't know, it's like Russian bots that go through YouTube and report violations. And we were having such a problem with that. We just said we're changing the song. I don't care. I do miss the old song. I'm gonna go listen to it right now. I have it on Spotify, so I have an album of all the theme songs. So with that, yeah, I'll be back Wednesday. Matt and Alex will take you into your Tuesday, go over some hockey, I suppose, since Matt is around, and we'll also have some basketball and whatever else. Then I'll be back, have some golf on Wednesday, hit the thumbs up on the way out, and if you had to work today, I'm sorry. This should be a damn holiday.